familiar with my many Mandela Effects videos, I now have also decided to look into the possibility of an upcoming ice age. I have always been interested in this subject, and a commenter brought to my attention, after a Mandela Effect video, with the white sun being called the Maunder Minimum. This made me think there could be more to it than just the possibility that it may be a Mandela Effect. Could the two topics be entwined somehow? Well, I found some interesting stuff that I have read. There may be more to an ice age than we know of. We may be moving into a new world, a new dimension. Everything is just energy and forms change. Perhaps Earth is going through changes, whether it be a planet, a plane, a dimension. Who knows? Is it the Earth's frequency preparing to rise to another dimension? Could this all be due to the Earth's frequency changing? There are many dimensions, many which we cannot see. We may be in the middle of a shift in frequency. That brings me to think of the changes the Earth seems to be going through. Could it be a frequency change that has to do with the Mandela Effect and or an upcoming ice age? I do not know for sure, but it's an interesting, fascinating subject. Keep an open mind that an ice age may be inevitable as a perfectly natural occurrence. There seems to be much evidence that this may occur, perhaps even sooner in the future than we think. It is just a matter of time. What do you guys think? I am now going to read some interesting stuff concerning this. As we watch glaciers around the world recede, we sometimes hear the argument that these changes are part of the Earth's natural fluctuation. To some extent, they are. We've been in a relatively stable and warm period for at least 15,000 years. Before that, ice ages covered most of the northern hemisphere with glaciers. The last of the 5 major ice ages, called the Pleistocene glaciation, began about 1.5 million years ago. It is thought to be caused in part by the Earth getting less of the sun's warming radiation, because of the pull of other planets in our solar system. The Pleistocene glaciation contained at least 20 ice fluctuations within it, in which ice advanced and receded. Sometimes, up to 30% of Earth was covered in ice. At times this included the better part of North America. California became almost completely entombed in ice. Today, evidence of the glacial takeover can be found as far down as Southern California's San Bernardino Mountains. When this ice age ended 15,000 to 25,000 years ago, the Earth entered an interglacial warm period. This is the period that we live in today, and the climate that allowed modern humans to begin our worldwide colonization. Earth is heading towards another ice age, as solar magnetic activity is set to drop by up to 60% in the next 15 years. Experts say that solar activity is low, as it currently is, has not been seen since the mini ice age that took place between 1645 and 1715, a period known as the Maunder Minimum, where the entire Thames froze over. A new model has allowed experts to predict solar activity with more accuracy than ever before, and it suggests that magnetic activity will fall by 60% between 2030 and 2040. The model looks at the sun's 11-year heartbeat, the period it takes for magnetic activity to fluctuate. This cycle was first discovered some 173 years ago. However, a mathematician has established a more up-to-date model that can forecast what the solar cycles will look like based upon dynamo effects in 2 layers of the sun. Dynamo effects are a geophysical theory that dictate how the movement of the Earth's outer core conducts materials, like liquid iron, across the magnetic field to create an electric current. This also influences fluid motion beneath Earth's surface to create 2 magnetic fields along the axis of the Earth's rotation. Valentina Zarkova from Northumbria University applied this theory to the sun and was able to predict the effects of solar cycles with 97% accuracy. Ms. Zarkova said at the National Astronomy meeting, "We found magnetic wave components appearing in pairs, originating in 2 different layers in the sun's interior. They both have a frequency of approximately 11 years, although this frequency is slightly different, and they are offset in time." Combining both waves together and comparing to real data for the current solar cycle, we found that our predictions showed an accuracy of 97%. Ms. Zarkova says the next cycle is set to peak in 2022, and the cycle after, known as Cycle 26, will herald a new ice age. She continued, "In Cycle 26, the 2 waves exactly mirror each other, peaking at the same time, but in opposite hemispheres of the sun. their interaction will be disruptive, or they will nearly cancel each other. We predict that this will lead to the properties of a Maunder minimum. During the Maunder minimum, temperatures dropped globally by 1.3 degrees Celsius. Although it seems insignificant, it led to shorter seasons, and ultimately food shortages. The Maunder minimum is also known as the prolonged sunspot minimum, and is the name used for the period starting in about 1645 and continuing to about 1715. During this 70-year period, sunspots became exceedingly rare. The phenomenon was only properly researched in 1976 when John Eddy published a scientific paper. Astronomers before Eddy had also named the period after the husband and wife solar astronomers Annie Maunder and Walter Maunder, who studied how sunspot latitudes changed with time. Which keeps Britain's temperatures higher than they would otherwise be.